the first thing we're going to do is get set up so you can see what's dried and what hasn't. And this is sort of a hope or repair the fantasy mushroom house. And it's weird. The one out of the light cured perfectly. The one under the light didn't. So we'll see where we go from now. So welcome in, everybody. Let's get ready. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist. And I'm working on this mushroom house that I've been trying to fix for a couple of weeks now, and then the storm hit. So let's finish this camera around here, and you can see what's going on. I'm having to use a different arm tonight, so it's going to be a little different here. Welcome in, Will Hat. Hi, Minnow. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Can someone type on the screen you can hear me okay? Okay, I'll try turning it up some more. That's as loud as it'll go. Okay, so here's the story behind the house. It's really weird because one end dried, and one end did not. So this is what we're looking at, and it's sticking all to my board. I had to scrape the wood off of here, and I've had it under my light for more than 2 days, and it still didn't set up properly. So I'm going to show you the bottom, what's going on. That is really bad. Can you see all that goo? That means that part is wet too. So the only thing I know that I might be able to do is put on some kind of layer on the bottom of this, which would mean 2 more pieces of wood. It's soaked through this. It's just really nasty. And it's weird because the mushroom dried perfect and it wasn't under the light. Let me get this mess out of the way. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been a really extended one, hasn't it? Okay, so I'm going to try to reach over here where you can't see me and get a couple of pieces of wood to go on the bottom side of this. I'm actually just going to stick them right on here, like so. I get a second piece and do the same thing. And we'll hope that it stays together and sets. So I'm going to get another piece of paper here. As you can see, there's resin on everything. It just kind of oohed out everywhere except where it was supposed to be. Yeah, it's almost done. It's done me in, that's for sure. Wow. Wow. Just want to keep Boss Kitty out of any resin, you know? So I'm going to take this, put it on the bottom of here. It's nothing but some like school paper. I'm losing mushrooms. Wow. Unbelievable. Okay. I'll just have to fix that. There's nothing I can do. It's sticking to my hands, folks. Okay, so as you can see, we're using a different thing here tonight to be able to see what I'm doing, which is very hard to work around, by the way. It's not like using the arm, which I'm going to try and fix that. I should have done it a couple of days ago, but, you know, you never think about it until you get ready to go live. If there was any sun and no snow and ice, maybe. So this actually set up all the way, and it's not sticky at all. Isn't that amazing? Well, maybe I'm telling the tale a little bit down here, but the rest is completely set. So yeah. I'm going to actually sit this on here to not really want to, but I'm going to. Press that down on there. This on top of here. Wow. Okay. And it's hard to see anything because of that. So we're going to pull all this mess up here, get the trees over here out of the way. I can't wait to finish this. You have no idea how much ready I am to finish this. I couldn't leave it half budding undone and go on to something else. Just not who I am. You're so nice. You are, Mental. You're really nice about it all. I'm trying to wipe off this. I mean, that resin got on everything. And that's the 2-part resin. I thought, yeah, it'll be a lot easier to work with this because I've worked with it before, but I've never worked with it with clay. There's a big difference. The clay could even be possibly causing it not to set up all the way, is what I'm thinking. I hadn't done any Googling to ask. Poor little mushroom here just got destroyed. Oh, we can fix it. Looks like a lollipop stick, doesn't it? That's actually clay. Okay. Let's see if I can get this turned around here, because I had to pull all the trees out in order to stick this thing under the light. Launch suggested that I put it in the stove at a low heat, but the problem is I used my heat gun on it, and what I noticed is that the resin doesn't get hard, it gets soft when it's too hot. You're so nice. You love the door. Yeah, it's almost a Flintstone door. Okay. So it has definitely been a learning curve. I think I'm going to do some more investigation when it comes to putting 2-part resin on clay. So I'm just putting some Bacon Bond here, even though we're not going to be baking it. This will actually help it seal because it is a resin, a bakeable resin. Okay. Thanks, guys, for sticking around and putting up with this darn mushroom house that should have been done 2 weeks ago. Okay. I'm just kind of putting a little pressure on that and holding it in place. There we go. Hopefully it'll stay up. It's a shiny mushroom, isn't it? Exactly, Mental. I don't know. It's really weird because part of it dried, per se, or hardened no problem, and part of it didn't, which is really weird. And I don't know where my little light is that's a black light, which would maybe help me to be able to set the rest of it. So, and there was supposed to be other things made for these too, but I was too busy being cold and doing snow videos. Let's see if I can get that back down in there. And I'll put some Bacon Bond there also. I'll bring it up a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. This works for the way it looks, but I'm having to work around it. Like I can't have it behind me. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. You guys have stuck it out like troopers. Thanks, Chrissy. Chrisley, thank you. We all can use that. Lots of peace and blessings. That will dry clear, by the way, even if it's not baked. Everybody, remember to thumb up the live, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Almost everybody will anyway, so not worried about that. We got to get trees back into their spots. And then maybe I'll do the last video when I do the trees after the trees in the spots. I will do that video offline and have it where it shows these finished, which will make a big difference too to this piece. And we're just using some bacon bond on here. Wow. Almost looks like Elmer's glue or something, but it's not. It's bacon bond. I'm using hand sanitizer to get this off my hands because I'm going to tell you something. You cannot work in gloves when you're doing this. Thanks, Minnow. I know Minnow's glad to see it being. Is this it? Look, tree fell. You got too excited. You got too excited. See there? I did too. Thinking, okay, we got this. Which I can add some clay onto that. And then, yeah. I can add some clay onto it and then just paint it the green it is, which is, it's a matte type acrylic green that I used. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to jar everyone. Trying to get this, whoa. So we have more light here. You can see my light sitting cockeyed over there because I had to break off the trees and put this inside of it. Okay. So we're going to turn it around and get the other trees in there. Of course, it is sticking to this because there's still some resin left on this thing, even though I scraped it. I'm going to have to probably take this darn thing out into my kitchen sink and hot water it and clean it out there, the tile, the resin, the tile. Thanks, everybody, for being here to hopefully get close to seeing this thing finished. The fairy fay mushroom house that turned into something I don't know. Not anything like it should have been. And I'll remember not to use too much 2-part resin if I'm going to cover clay. Yeah, I do. We just got to get that bottom to dry. I don't know, but he's a part of the copyright thing that we can't do. But actually, that's a real mushroom, guys. In real life, there's a real mushroom out there. If you Google it, and you'll find out it's a poisonous mushroom. But apparently, they know how to cook it, and they can cook it and have it safe. I guess sort of like if you ate a blowfish, you'd have to know how to part it in order to know that it was safe to eat. But that actually is a real mushroom. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't do that. That's what I said in the other live. I said, I am not sponsored by Nintendo or Mario. Okay, so because I'm going to paint these over green, it doesn't matter what clay I use to fix the Leaning Tower of Tree Pisa. So that's what I'm doing. I make this so it'll stay up, and then it'll be painted green with the green that's used on the grass and everything, which will work. I hope. Okay. Get around to this other side. I'm just trying to get these trees hooked back into the base of it. Actually, I should have had a much bigger base than this because the jar is rather large, but it's okay. It's fantasy. So we're just using these like skirts to hook these trees back in here. All right. Get another piece of this blue that actually made the house. Do you? And let's see, we should have one more tree laying here, provided Boss Kitty didn't carry it off anywhere. I don't think she would have. It's not the kind of thing she normally would play with. Here we go. But she would play with this other stuff, which is this wire string, which it looks like she might have gotten into it. A little more of the bacon bun on here. And then we're going to wrap this with a blue bottom too, and then I can paint it green. Okay. We're just wrapping this sort of like a Band-Aid, but it's going to look better when it gets painted. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist, so I know it's hard to believe, and I actually have done much better sculptures than this. So this is the first time I used polymer clay to do this stuff. Just exactly because of the drying and the baking process, and it's such a big piece. Okay, we're going to get another piece of blue to go on that last tree on the back here. It's like moving this around on some goo, but some of it dried, just not all of it. Okay. Sorry, I'm having to work around the camera. Hi, STG November 0575. Welcome in. I'm Organic Silverman Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist. If you haven't already thumbed up the live, please do. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. There will be a lot more interesting stuff coming. And since Mineral Raccoon Glass and I have joined up on doing some projects together, I've got some of his really nice glass beads along with my gemstones that we will be working on next and setting them in wraps and cages and necklaces and maybe even possibly a bracelet. It just depends on the glass bead. It tells me what it wants. I don't tell it. All right, folks, don't forget to thumb up the live and like it while you're here. And please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And I thank you for being here. All my new subs and my seasoned subs, as I call it. I'm cleaning my hands off, guys, with alcohol sanitizer because I could not squeeze these in a pair of gloves to do this clay. Me too. Me too, mental. Me too. Okay, so we got that. Wow. And I have forced this thing to go together because that's what happened to begin with. I think, see, this is all dry. It's like there's very little stick to it, but there are pieces that are real sticky, and that stuff just oozed out of the bottom. Thank you so much, Mental. Everybody, sub everybody back and forth, and sub me and like me. We'll all support you. I try to support all the channels that are out there that I sub to. Okay. Now we're going to see how well I do. I have this little guy, and it's going to go on the handrail as soon as I see what I did with the handrail. Here we go. Yep. Put some bacon bond down here on the bottom to hook that little mushroom in. I'm hoping it stays. Remember, this is real times, folks, so we're not timing it and having it where it's all set up. It just makes a difference when you got to do it in real time. Okay, now move this around a little more. See, my mushroom fell off. I knew that was going to happen. Okay. One, two. I hope I'm going to push this into here. Yep. And it doesn't seem to like it either. And then we're going to put this here. Maybe I'm going to put it down here instead. All right. I can't actually bend that anymore in what it's bent. It was meant to go further out, but it is actually sealed and baked from the UV oven with UV resin. So I'm going to get some of this acrylic paint here. This paint will do the bottoms of the tree. It's nothing but apple barrel, and then I have another brand too, Color Shift. And I am looking for my paintbrush that I was using with this. Wow. If not, I've got another one that'll work. There we go. Because we're going to do this, which is a marsh green. I thought it was fitting for the fairy house. So you just started your channel, huh? Wow. Thank you so much, Minnow, for helping him out. Remember, we all started out to begin with. Some of us had friends that would sub us, but other people start from fresh and they don't have anyone. So it's not necessarily, I don't know, I guess it depends on the date when they did it, but we all started somewhere. So everybody has to help everyone in order to survive on this platform and have a beginning. So we're just painting the tree stumps with the marsh green 2189E, 2189-1E marsh green acrylic paint, if anyone's curious what I used. Yeah. I'm having to move this around so I can do this. Hopefully you guys can see okay. I hope so. I tried to get this. Let's see. Why am I wonder if it's because of this. Hold on. I'm just not used to having to use. See if I can get this to come up a little more. I don't know if that's better or worse. Only you guys know. And let me see if the lighting's on. Now it's off. Now relight is on. Okay, so we are working on the Fairy Fay mushroom house, who's had it quite rough from the winter storms. I think all the fairies went to Florida for the couple of next weeks because it's so bad. All right. Just getting over here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and sub and hang out, because that's the way I get my watch time, too. Helps, and I really appreciate it. And I'll tell you what I've done, too, and I'm sure many of my other tuber friends have, too, is not left the lives, maybe not be there, but they're there, so you get the watch time. Hold on one second, folks. I got to do something real quick because I forgot to do it. All right, I just put the phone on Do Not Disturb, so I'm not getting phone calls and hopefully not messages, too. So you guys don't have to hear dings and bings, I hope. So it's just an inexpensive brush, okay, folks? That's all you want to use if you're messing with clay or resin. You don't want to use an expensive brush on this. Okay. We're getting those tree stumps on the bottom of the tree. Hopefully everybody can see this okay while I'm doing it. I'm just doing like a flutter back and forth, and I am using paint. This is not, a lot of times I do dry brushing, but we're actually doing the paint to give this some depth and layers. And the more it dries, the better it'll be, because then I can go back and put the lines and ridges in the bottom of the tree like roots, how it's supposed to be. Okay. Next tree stump to the tree. Okay, keep turning this around. Looks like I hit my mushroom in the back there because I moved this back, but we'll get that straight in a minute. Main thing is getting these covered and painted. How's everybody doing tonight? Anybody else working on any prize things? I know you are mental. So there you go. These top parts when I get through, but they're not going to be done on here tonight. They're going to be having leaves and stems. But I had to wait until I got them back on the actual model of the sculpture to end up doing that. Just kind of using this moss green to fill in the gaps here too. Hi, Zojag and Burke. Nice to meet you. Welcome in. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I welcome you in my room. This is a project that's taken way longer than it should have due to our snow and ice era here. And it just didn't want to dry. Or set up. And I still have part of it that's not set up, but we're working on it anyway. This is a fairy mushroom house sculpture made out of a spaghetti jar as my base. Because if I was making it any other way, I would have had to have used air dry clay in order to use solid clay to make it. I may have to put another little piece of clay in there later to fill in these gaps. Just mainly trying to cover up that blue clay. How's everybody doing tonight? Hi, Zoya. Welcome in. Sorry if I don't catch everyone. I've got mods in the rooms. I'm sure, like Mental, he's making sure that he's got you. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Please make sure you hit that thumbs up button while you're here and hang out and stay around. Have some fun and help me gain some watch time. Okay, I'm going to, I don't know if you guys can notice it, but I can see it from me. I see white in here, which there was no white on here. I think it had something to do with trying to dry it under the UV light when it's 2-part resin. But we're just going to cover it up so that doesn't show. All right, then I'm going to wipe this brush off. I'm just going to use, it's nothing but acrylic paints, folks, so you can actually use water and soap to clean the paint. You don't have to worry about having any expensive brush cleaners. Thank you, Mental. Mental subbed you, Zoe. Please remember to sub back people. They will support you. Mental's real good at that, and so am I. If you're subbed to my room, I will be subbed to you once the live is over. And I also will support your channel if you have any videos. Okay, so now we're going to use some of this acrylic metallic gloss finish to cover up some of these other mushrooms that need to be covered. And this is actually almost the end of this, and the last part I'm going to end up putting up in a video because I've got to add branches and stuff to the trees besides what's on them. They're supposed to have some leaves. And I'm just putting some of this paint in here if I can get it to come out. It's rather thick. Come on now. It's still cold in here, folks. Wow. Well, maybe I'm doing it this way. It really is still really cold in here. All right. So just the tops of the shrooms are being painted this color. Trying to get the spots that I missed the last time because all the rest was going on. Thank you so much for being here. This is a Fairy Fae Mushroom House. I used a tomato sauce jar for its form in order to sculpt it because you just cannot sculpt out of this much polymer clay unless you can afford a big chunk of polymer clay to do it. Then I say go for it. But just remember, you have to bake that thing afterwards. And you have to have room. So you probably have to take all the things out of your oven unless you've got a huge kiln or something. Ugh, I'm getting paint all over me. Thank you, everybody, including Will Hat, wherever you are, Will Hat. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So I'm just trying to get this metallic on metallic green for the mushrooms. It is a fantasy thing, so it's not like the only one that matches something that actually looks real besides other people thinking it's Mario is the mushroom on the top is actually a real mushroom out in the woods. And they are supposedly highly poisoned. But apparently there are people who cook them and eat them. Hey, well, Hat, thank you. I'm glad to know you're still here. I'm just trying to get my brushes clean. That's why you don't hear much noise. I'm trying to get the brushes cleaned off. This is nothing but acrylic paint, and you only need soap and water to clean your brushes. But it does rather well on clay. Bull, what toxins out? What are you talking about, Mental? I don't know, so that's why I'm asking. I know it's dumb, but that's why I'm asking. I don't know. Okay. Make sure I pour the right paint back into the right container. Amanity, yeah, there you go. That's the mushroom. And it's a famous one in here. You say mushroom, and it's the one that comes up showing. I don't know. I'm not that brave, and I used to hike the Appalachian Trail, and I know how to pick them. That's not one I've seen here in the States, though someone here in the United States claimed a week ago or something, or whenever I did whatever, that they actually had these growing out where they were. Exactly. So I keep it on the fantasy side of the Mario stuff that I'm not sponsored for, but it really is a true mushroom. And there are yellow mushrooms out there too. It looks like I missed the side of this. Okay, so let me get that real quick with some more marsh acrylic paint. Which, folks, you can buy these in your Walmart, or you can buy fancier ones in a tube. I have tube acrylic paints, but those are the ones I do paint brushing with. And I actually use these acrylics, believe it or not, and you can use a thinner you can buy for your airbrush. So you can actually clean these. You can actually use these with your airbrushing. You just have to thin them out. Like, you don't have to have expensive airbrush paint just because it says airbrush. You can use acrylics and these type. But if you want to pay the overrated price on some of them, you're more than welcome. I'm not rich like that, but yeah, and I've got 3 different types of airbrushes. Well, the paint will air dry on here. I'm going to hit it probably with the heat gun again on the painted parts that I did, because it will. And it's real funny. We'll hot everybody in mental. You got to see this. So it must have been raining and snowing for this too. Look right down here. Let me see if I can get y'all close enough. Can you see those drips? Those are resin drips. Yeah, you can't bake this because it's 2-part acrylic, but I can use my air gun to do the rest of it to be safe. In fact, I tried to use the air gun earlier, and remember how we had the fire alarm before? Well, I don't know if you were here yet, Mental, but yeah, it set the alarm off. And it set it off today. I had to shut my heat gun off right away. And I don't know why, because the thing is up on the ceiling. I just don't know how that much heat could have rose, and I guess that's what it was, because the heat rises from the hair gun. Yeah, from the heat gun, not the air gun. That's because I was talking about the brushed stuff is why. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and it looks like I still got a little blue piece back there showing, and this one needs more green on it. You know, that comes from being an artist, that perfectionist, even if it's a rather flubbable of a little bit of a mess. It still comes from being a perfectionist. You want everything right. That's why I said I had to finish it. Because I just could not, no matter what, could not have this and not finish it. Okay. Piece of mushroom back here. Oh, I guess I need to bring this up again. This works good for everybody else seeing, but it's a real workaround for me and my arms and hands. There we go. I like this metallic grain. I like it on the mushrooms. I think it looks cool, but it's supposed to be fantasy anyway, so there you go. I'll even paint the little drips there. That way it'll act like it's fungi from the top. You're really nice, Mama. And so are you, Will Hat, and everybody that comes in here is nice. Usually everybody who patronizes our rooms and comes in and supports each other are nice people. Every once in a while we get a Jasper, but not very often. It's weird because this dried and it was sitting out on the piece of paper, remember? So, and it's not on here right now because I don't want to make this permanent yet in the middle of this in case there's anything else I need to do to it when I do the trees, because I'm going to have to move it out of the way in order to actually make the tree branches, and I will literally be making, this clay is so hard in here. That's how cold it is in here. Well, here, this piece has been sitting under my UV lamp. So we can take a piece of clay and you're just going to fold it and mush it between your fingers like that. And then I'll make it, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use this to cut it. I don't know where my cutting thing is, but this will work. This will work. And then we'll start to begin with because I need to have it where I can get my hands to it the right way. We'll start right here. Whoa. Sticking on my finger and not wanting to stick on there. Hang on. I'll get it. Where's my little ball thing? Any of my ball things will work. Sort of like a teardrop, but it's a leaf. And I want it even smaller. At least I didn't hit my toes. Now you know this is soft because it's sticking to the brush. Let me try a little bigger piece. My fingers have green all over the bottom of my hands. Let's see if I can do this again. I guess I can build them up around here and add to it. That's supposed to have a point, and it's not pointing for me because it's soft. Thank you for all the subs to all these people, Parker and everybody. Remember who's subbing you, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel also. Because usually when I go into Minnels, I tell them to sub to him and then to sub to me. That's what I do. And because I sub them while I'm in his lives. Okay. This is why I wanted to do it off the camera, the leaves, because it's going to be work. That is no easy job putting leaves on this tree. Awesome, Minnel. I'm sure that Parker, don't forget to sub Minnel back if you haven't already, and remember to sub me also. I really appreciate the support, and like the live while you're in here, and come back to see more because it's going to get better. I promise you. Okay, so I'm going to just do this because I'm going to end up, I'm going to put leaves on these. We're actually going to wrap these around the branches. This clay is too soft. It's either too soft or not right, one or the other. There's no in between. But I'm going to have something to build those leaves off of. Thank you so much for everybody being here. Thank you for all the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Hang out. Don't go away because it helps with watch time too. And we're going to be adding a whole lot more to this before it's over with. Okay. You guys probably can't see it, but behind this arm thing here for them to come out the door, the little fairies to come out, is metal. And we don't want that there. Kind of want it to blend in if possible. And I'll use the ball on that to kind of smooth it out so it'll do more even there. Well, where did my ball tool go? Hold on, folks. I think I dropped the ball tool is what happened. Yep, there's one of them. Sorry if I kicked you around. I have two different ball tools here, but I need the little one. Yeah, there we go. I made it back up. Okay. So we're getting this so that I can use it on the back of this rail that's for the door where you come out. And that'll push it right up behind there. So it'll blend in, hopefully. We're just using this to make some texture. That's the handrail. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm kind of doing. We're covering up that metal. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Sorry about that. All right. And then we're going to use this ice picky thing here, which is actually meant for leather, folks. And we're going to turn this so everybody can see me doing the branches, because we're going to give this some texture on here. This will also get painted green, by the way. But we're just texturing it because the all in all is when it gets done, it's going to have leaves too everywhere. And don't forget to go check Mental out and Will Hat too. Remember to sub him too. He will sub you back and he'll do his best to come and look at your stuff too. He's also another great artist. You just need to see his work to believe it, because he is. Okay. Trying to mush some of this yellow up here. My fingers are going to be every color of the rainbow before it's over with. Yeah, he is. Well, that's awesome. He's the first guy I started out with before I ever knew anybody. Not even you. I didn't even know you then. Okay, so we're getting another piece onto another tree branch here. Smushing that over that. Because eventually there are going to be leaves coming off of all this, by the way. Trying not to breathe heavy in anybody's ears right now, trying to get here and work around this other. And we're going to use the ice pick again to give it some texture. Wow. And up underneath here, just pushing it up a little. Same texture, folks. Real important, because in the end, when this piece looks out, it will need texture. This even needs to be textured so it will have roots down here, and then it will be painted again, because you can see the blue coming out. We're doing the bottom of the trees too. Let's turn it again. And we will texture the bottom of this too before we hit it with green again. Up like that, just to create the texture around the root system of the tree. Even though it's fantasy, fae, mushroom house, it's still, we're hoping to make it look a little realistic along with the fantasy. And well, that's Laguna. Oh, here's the other one. Out of eyes, out of sight, out of mind, right? Hey folks, don't forget to like and subscribe, not only to my channel, and come back for more great content. I'll be doing a lot of jewelry and canvas and some metal work coming up. Real metal work, not just wire wrapping. And we're just painting the bottoms of these again, because we want it. I may have to do strings on these to make them actually look like roots. And we're using marsh green acrylic paint on the bottom of the tree. Okay, we're going to paint up here too. This is all a part of the tree. This is a living tree. It's not dead. That's why we're going to end up with leaves on it. The problem is I have to keep turning it or I can't see what I'm doing. Hopefully everybody else can see. Thank you, everybody. Will Hat, all the other newcomers in here tonight. Mental, thank you all for being here and supporting me. I really appreciate it. And nobody's in competition, folks, so none of us is jealous of the other one or what they do or don't do. And that's the whole idea of being a creator. If you are, then you're in the wrong business. Or wrong craft, or wrong art. Okay. Can you guys see that okay? Is lighting showing up good enough here? Because I'm worried I'm having to keep... That's better. Better than it was. So what's everybody else up to tonight? Any projects going on? Crafting projects? Artistry? Painting? Airbrushing? Sculpting? I'm just painting the roots down here on this tree. And I got the two arms there for the branches. And you can see how everything takes its time to do it. I mean, you just can't, this is not a mold, you know, and you just can't throw it up there. Thank you so much for everybody being here. Will Hat, you said you're still with me. What are you doing right now? Just curious. Hey, Stephen, welcome in. I'm so glad to see you here. Awesome. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. We're just building onto the trees and stuff. And I know if you guys notice, there's like a little piece of plastic here. That is part of the resin that I'm going to have to cut off. Are you now? Awesome. That's right. Will Hat is an artist, and he does a lot of drawings. He does tangles and doodles. And you should go check him out and subscribe to him if you haven't. You're fine. You're fine, Mental. You are just fine the way you are. I just didn't know if anybody had any projects going on, because you can project and do yours too at the same time. I just need you to hang out so I can get watch time. Unfortunately. I wish I could do it where we could get watch time no matter what. But that's not how it works on the tube. Okay, so I'm going to be adding some more of this yellow clay that I have soft here to this next tree. I'm sort of going around to each tree and giving them a branch out, and then they'll be ready for leaves after that. I'm so glad you're here, Stephen. I know we're all happy to see you. Okay, so I just need a small piece here. Just kind of push it around there and squish it up to the end here as much as possible. Oops, you guys are out of the camera. Sorry about that. Now I'm going to use the ice pick thing again as I get more green paint all over me. That seems to be my color, the lucky of the leprechauns, right? leprechauns and fairies and what else? Dragonflies, all kinds of cool stuff. And mushrooms, of course. I'm just using this to press down and distribute this, and I'll use it to push up because we don't want it going down too far. We're using this as a branch so that I'll be able to add leaves onto it. That's why the wire was put on here, part of the frame of it. Thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate that. I definitely can use that for sure. I try to watch everybody else. And by the way, if I ever say I'll be back or I'm doing something, I am still in the room. I promise you. I don't leave the room. I make sure you get the watch time because I know how important it is. Okay, we're going to get some more of this marsh green on here. That's what we're using to color. I got free cat hair too on the end of my brush. Always contributing. Boss Kitty is doing her part. Make sure everything gets done right. Okay. And the reason I'm doing like one branch on each one of these folks is because I can't get my hands and fingers in there to do the next branch unless it's lower down. Like if it's low enough, like this is low enough down that I can do it here. But I can't if I'm doing one right up there because my hands are going to get mushed in with the other one. So get another piece of this yellow clay here that we're painting green. I'm going to put this right on here like this. See, it is kind of hard even working on this one down here. I'm just smushing that up over the wire frame. And then I'm going to use that ice pick to thin this out a little. And then we'll paint it green. And the next step will be to get the leaves on it. And where's my ice pick that I just had here? Oh, right in front of me to the right of me where you guys can't even see it. Okay. So we're just pressing up underneath this one to kind of move it up. I don't know. Yeah, I can bring you guys in. I forgot I could bring you in closer. And as you can see, this is dry. And that is not. So, just giving this some texture. I'm going to push this up here on the bottom. And just some texture in here. Whoops, too much texture. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to put some more marsh green on this one now. And of course, these usually don't take that long to dry, folks, but it's still cold. And my heat's up in the late, almost over 71, and it's still cold. Thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for helping out. Means a lot. Okay. All right. Sorry, I keep knocking into this, but it's right on top of me because I'm using a 63-inch pole to instead of my arm. So that's part of the problem. I like it, but it doesn't have enough angles for me. I mean, I can lift you guys way up here as high as it'll let me and have you way back here. And then pull it up like that. But it will only go so far with pulling it up. So it's better not to do that. It's better to keep it lower and pull you in. Hey, Mr. PT Hit, thank you for being here. Thank you for liking the live if you haven't already. And definitely hang out. We're just fixing up these trees so that these branches here. Yep, and Mental's here too. All right. Getting ready to put another piece of this yellow in here, and then we're going to paint it with the marsh green. Folks, don't forget to thumb up and like the live. It really helps while you're in here. I appreciate it. Everybody's hanging out with Lydia tonight because this has been a nightmare. Let me tell you. And the nightmare is not even over yet. And it's not really a nightmare. It's just the cold weather really does affect paints and clays. It will affect you also depending on what you're doing. If you're doing certain metal work, if you're pouring, like if you're pouring silver or even annealing some things, you'll have some of the same issues because it's so cold. And you can't have your house like an oven because then you can't breathe to work. Let's see here. Some more of this yellow over here. And I get it smushed up in my hands because I need it to soften a bit. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to push you. Thank you for all the thumbs up. I really appreciate the support while you're in here. And like I said earlier, no one, not any of the people that I know of, and not any true creator or artist gets jealous over another artist. You know, like, oh, they got more people than me. Oh, they got more likes than me. No, no, no. It's not the way it works. We all support each other no matter what. Because I have been around people like that. And that is not good. That is not how it works. If you expect to be successful at all. Okay. Yeah, a portable heater. The thing is, it is 70 degrees in my house, folks, 70 or 71 degrees. That's like a summer day. And still, I'm having the issue. And I left the door open here for the last 2 days, so my heat has done nothing but run like crazy. And this is a bedroom, too. Good thing I don't sleep in here. I've been learning tricks like not only softening it with when I do my Skinner blends, when I do these clay works. We're just texturing this branch here. And I'm just pushing it up a little bit on here. So we don't want to hang it down too far because it's not that big of a tree. We're not building an oak here. These are just little fantasy fairy fae mushroom trees, which kind of fit it really because it'd be more like a twiggy tree. Wow. And these are not going to be finished on the camera. It's impossible for me to do that. But just so you guys could see where it was coming from and what was going on, especially with this resin, that is, it's still sticky, but this isn't. And this is shiny. And well, no, there you go. Right there. You can see the resin on my finger. And heating it with the heat gun doesn't work with the resin because it just makes it get hot and gooey. It needs heat from the sun or some kind of heavy light, which I thought my UV resin light would do that. So much for that. It did some of it, not all of it though. So I'm trying to get these little branches on these wired arms because eventually they're going to have leaves on them. No, the vent's wide open, Mr. P. I've been working in this for almost a year, putting up with this in here. And other than cooking myself, that's why I have the UV light, because it'll help with soften the clay up too. But it's not going to warm the room for other things. Like if you're working with paint, you can be assured that unless it's warm enough, you're going to get thick paint too. Which is exactly what I have with these acrylics. Okay, then I'm going to texture this. Yeah, if there was some miracle, I'd do it. I'm telling you. I think it has to do with humidity too. Like I don't think there's a lot of humidity in this house, but I'm not used to living in the mountains of Georgia, okay? I'm from Virginia and I've hiked all these areas, but never lived here when my health was good. I was a hiker too, as well as a licensed scuba diver, and I really can paint and draw. And I usually if I'm doing clay, I just decided this time I wanted to do the polymer clay because I thought it would be fun because I make a lot of faux jewelry too. Yeah. So, but I do have real gemstones I work with and real silver. And we're just texturing these branches here to give them a little life when they get painted, and then the leaves are going to be put on them. Trying to kind of squish that up a little bit. I don't want it to be but so thick. Wow. Thank you everybody again for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the thumbs up, all the support, everyone. I really mean that. Mr. P, Menno, Stephen, Will Hat, Parker. I like your name, Parker, by the way, Parker's Inventions. Very nice of you. Thank you. I hope you are a subscriber of my channel. And so, and everybody who came in, and STG, which I can't even say your name properly. I feel so embarrassed. Yeah, so Mineral Raccoon Glass, by his name, should tell you that he works with two-part gas and does his beads and creations. He just made some really cool little monsters and stuff that are just gorgeous. You're not going to get that at a store or anything, folks. Those are handmade and created, so it's very awesome. And it's still, I can't believe, like, if I leave it over there under the heat lamp, over here, this clay is hard. And this actually is not cheaper clay. This is not the cheaper clay. This is actually more expensive polymer clay that you use for nicer things, like Stranger Things, right? Okay, so I'm gonna do this bottom branch over here. And then this is part 6 of part 3. So I am going to try to do a majority of all this detail work off the camera, and hopefully everybody will come back to see it in its finished stages and not just flip through it to get at the end. Because I will do it off being live, but I will film it. Where is my little icy pick I was using? I keep losing that ice pick and it's right in front of me. You guys are supposed to say it's right in front of you, Lydia. I know how that is, to be tired. Because you haven't been sleeping good either, from what you've said. So we are working on the Fairy Fay Faux Mushroom House. And this is me adding these yellow branches on here, which are actually going to look pretty cool once they're all painted and become a part of the tree. I don't know why that keeps leaning. It has no weight to it. How do you lean when you have no weight to you? Okay. Same thing for that little mushrooms. All these mushrooms were handmade, by the way. So these stems you see on them that look like popsicle sticks to you, they are not. They are polymer clay that have been baked and attached to the mushroom cap. Each one of them handmade. That one's a thick one, but the rest of them are not. They're rolled sort of to their size. This one's a little bigger because this is a bigger mushroom. The smaller ones for the smaller mushrooms. Right, so you guys can actually see the stems on these because they are handmade. They are not popsicle sticks, folks. They're actually out of polymer clay. You can see how the resin dripped. And I had it under the light too, and it still dripped there. You can see that. Hey, Edward, thank you for coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. And it's really strange, everybody, as I told Will Hat and Mental, because they were kind of the first ones in here. The weird part is the top, the mushroom cap, came out like perfect as far as the resin setting on it. Like, I mean, there's this, but it's set. Like, and it wasn't under a light either. And it's set up in a cold room. Thank you so much. Alrighty. I have to take a break and have a drink of my green tea and almond milk. Weird stuff I drink. Okay. Yeah, isn't that weird, Edward? Because it, like, the cap, I mean, I put quite a bit of resin on it. It came off on the paper. And because we were talking about that, and I said, remember, it won't stick to this, and it didn't. And it's set up. The one that's the bottom, the flooring, is what had the trouble with that floor grass setting up. Part of it's dry, part of it's not. But if you look, you can actually see, like even on the little mushrooms, where the resin actually dripped down on them. And I didn't put that much resin on them, but they did anyway. That 2-part resin. Thank you, Edward. You're so nice. Appreciate it. I don't feel like it's my best, but it's going to get better, I hope. So when I show you guys the other part later, I'm hoping that it's going to really improve the looks once I get the leaves on these trees and stuff. And for some reason, this tree just does not want to stand up. So I'm hoping that'll fix the issue. And we're going to hit it up with some more marsh green on these yellow pieces right now. And lucky for me, Boss Kitty is not in here trying to help me. Because she tries to help sometimes, and it can be really tough having her be a helper. Now, what happened to my brush? That's not right in front of me. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to figure out where my brush is so I can get these other yellow tree branches that we're putting the clay on these, each side. And we're just using acrylic, inexpensive acrylic, metallic, and apple barrel. I guess crafters use all these, but we do too. As a airbrusher, I use these paints to airbrush with when I do my other bigger things, and they work. You just have to have an airbrush thinner. Just remember that. If they're thin enough, you don't have to worry about it, but I always advise using a little bit of thinner when you put them in your cup, because it will stick. The airbrush won't be able to blow it out. Okay. I am looking for my paintbrush, guys. How on earth do you lose a paintbrush sitting right in front of you? I mean, I don't see it. That's really weird. Thought I had it laying on this cap. Okay. Just a second here. I don't think I dropped it. Maybe I did. How did it get on the floor? Who knows? See, the fairies and the fays. I understand the fays are mischievous. They're just like the fairies, but they're really mischievous. If you're into all that fun belief. Okay, so we're using this, which is the apple barrel marsh green. I'm going to pour a little more in my cap here. It's easier to work with. I have paint trays, but like I said, I'm not using my good brushes either, so there you go. This is just to, let's turn it to this one to begin with. Kind of hold that because my brush strokes are a little heavy for this. Meaning my hand's heavy. It can't take me pressing on it like that. And I like this marsh green. I think it goes really well because it's kind of a matte. It's not shiny, so it makes the trees look more natural. And so when these do get done, there'll be leaves on them. I don't know how many, because it's a lot of work making little baby leaves by hand. No mold. You got to do it all by hand. Oops, sorry, I'm talking away and you guys can't even see what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. So we're in the middle of getting these branches covered. I'm going to turn it again. Whoops. I tell you, I'm going to have everything in here green before it's over with, not just my hands. We're actually looking to cover this. That's why I'm not doing dry brushing. Because I used yellow clay and I want it covered. Since it's not Oh, what is that really old movie? Johnny Depp was in a remake of it. I don't know. It wasn't Candyland, but it was something close to that. And I remember the first one that came out in the 70s because I was still young then. I was only 10 years old in 71. My dad was still in Vietnam fighting. Okay. So thank you to all our vets if we have any veterans in here. All right, there we go. And I'm into cosplay and all that too, and manga. You guys haven't seen a lot of my stuff yet. That's good. I probably am, Edward. I'm older than a lot of people that I come out here, but I still what? I'm still a gamer. I started when there was Nintendo 64 and Switch, and also my dad had that system everybody sees on TV, and I remember that thing that has two switches on it, and you just bounce the ball back and forth on the screen. I don't remember what they called that thing. I used to have the original Nintendo systems. Okay. So I was like 10 years old then when you were just being born. And we were in Germany, and my dad was in Vietnam at that time. It's so funny because I laugh because these people say, oh, well, you're not a Gen Xer. Yeah, the real Gen X's were born in the 60s. So, and the baby boomers were not us. The baby boomers were my parents. That's why I laugh when people say that. Yeah, Atari. Exactly. Wow. Yeah. But we've come a long way, baby, as that singer sang, because like I just so remember all the older games, and I have a system that's not my original Nintendo either, and so I can play both games, Nintendo 64 and then Nintendo. And boy, the graphics are so much better. I'm gonna tell you, when it started going up was 64, Nintendo 64. The graphics started getting better, and it's so funny because people say RBG. Yeah, role playing. An RBG is a role playing game, but the blocks of the older games, everything, including Link, was in blocks, little blocks. Because if you watch the games they offer free, those are the ones they're offering back before it became the big Nintendo's Nintendo and Nintendo 64, and he was all in blocks. Yeah, we're telling both of us are telling our age for sure, but I still game, and I'm still a big gamer. I enjoy gaming. And I'm not a big football fan, so I have plenty of people in my family that were football people, and I wasn't. But I liked God, who is he? Oh God, I forgot who he is, the big football coach of the day. Because I remember buying that game. If I still had it, it'd be worth a fortune. Yeah, Pong. But the football game was a famous coach. They made that game after. Now they're selling it for a fortune. I can remember when I thought back when it was 50 and $60, that was a lot. Okay, I'm just trying to get all these yellow pieces gone. Thank you, everybody, for being here. That's it, Edward. Thank you so much. I told you I wasn't a big football person. I remember major things, but I got that game, Madden's game back then, because, well, he was famous, and I actually enjoyed the game. And like I said, I'm not a football fan. Other than the guy I dated in high school was a quarterback. But other than that, no, not a big football fan. So no offense if you're football fans. I remember having a big Christmas party at one of my houses, and everybody's football fan. It was during Super Bowl, and I had at that time, that was a big TV. I had a 55-inch color TV when they first started making the flat screens. So I threw a big party and get together for all my guys that were in the Navy, Army, and Marines. And so they all got to come there and watch football and drink and eat. And I did all the cooking. And of course, I ended up doing all the cleaning. But yeah, Madden is correct. But I loved that game. I really did. It was fun to play. And later, and I don't have it now, but I did have it, the skateboarder, because I used to skateboard and surf too. Besides walk on the Appalachian Trail and everything else and scuba dive, I was pretty active, you know. My nephew used to be a skater and a surfer. I don't know if he still surfs or not, but he now runs a silkscreen t-shirt business. Well, they have some pretty good hunting and fishing games out there for sure. I want to play Red Dead Redemption. No, I'm not getting any credit for mentioning that because I have not played it. Anybody else played that game? I think it's 2 now if you want to get it on the Switch. Not Switch 2, but the original Switch, it's game 2. Because I believe it originally was on PlayStation. So we are getting there on the trees. So this is a lot of work doing the trees. Okay, and I know that name because, I might be a vegan for 30 some years, but before that 30 some years, I was eating meat, and half the people in my family were hunters. So, we had fresh deer and everything else. So, yeah. In fact, probably half the people I know have never eaten frog legs or turtles, and I've had both, as well as shark and everything else. But I'm just saying, like, so that Cabela's, or however you say it, I know it. It's a sporting store. So I had to take a drink of my green tea and almond milk. Yeah, swordfish is good too. My grandmother used to go out on a boat called the Big D in Norfolk, Virginia. And they go out, and it was so weird because they bait your hook while you're fishing. It was crazy. I had never been somebody would bait my hook, and I had double hooks, and we were catching them 2 and 3 at a time. And if you were sword fishing, you were off the back like my grandmother was, my mom's mother, where she actually had a harness around her in a chair. So yeah, swordfish is good too. You see, I'm not a vegan because I didn't like meat. I did it because of my health. So there you go. Because me and the cholesterol that's only naturally building doesn't get along with me or my heart. All given to me by my parents and grandparents. Oh, that's too bad. Because and I love frogs, don't get me wrong. But they actually, you know how they say everything tastes like chicken? I promise you it does. It does. And the thing is, remember they're frogs. So when you go to eat them, if they're cooked properly, remember what those frogs jump with. So it's mostly muscle. So I wouldn't say it's a super meaty type of eat. It's more of like well, I don't know, but I get the blue cheese that's imitation. I have made my own too. Uh, like it's an acquired taste. So anyway, we're working on the fairy fay mushroom house. I'm so happy to have you all here. I really appreciate it. And I am getting little clocks of orange on the tree branches so that I can add the leaves to it. And it's so weird. Like I said again, the top dried perfect. I mean, even if it doesn't look perfect because of the lighting, it actually dried perfect. It was the floor for the grass that I had the problem with. And it's still going. I'm hoping that the light that I'm using for our live is actually helping it cure. That's pretty bad. You hope the light helps it cure. Me too. I love blue cheese. It's an acquired taste, just like frog legs and turtles are, and including what? Raccoons, rabbits. I've never eaten skunk though. You get good taste. I can make my own blue cheese now, vegan, and you can't tell the difference because of the products I use in it that don't have any dairy, because I love blue cheese. Hey, Launch, I didn't even see you in here. There you are. Yeah, Launch likes blue cheese too. Okay, I'm going to try to get some on this branch here. It's either too soft or not soft enough. Sort of like the three bears syndrome here. So we're just getting these yellow pieces on here, and then I'm going to texture them with my little ice picky thing, because the next step on these will be doing the leaves, which we are not doing on the live, folks, so don't panic anybody, because that's going to take some work, and I will be filming it, and hopefully everybody will come back to see the difference and not just skip through it either. I got green paint all over my hands. And we're just using this yellow, and we're going to be covering it up with the marsh green acrylic paint. You're right. And so is everybody calls it Munster cheese, but that is not the correct pronunciation. That's also a very good cheese and has a distinct flavor. So if you are a wine and cheese connoisseur and bread, you should love blue cheese. Okay, so I'm going to get another piece over here. Just keep moving this. As you see, I'm trying to get the yellow branches on as quick as possible because I got to texture all of them, and they all have to have leaves made on them. Which that's going to be the hardest part because they have to be made small enough to go for each of the branches. Okay. And again, ice pick. So we're working on the Fairy Fay Faux Mushroom House as we discuss blue cheese and the likes and dislikes, but everybody has their own, you know? How many people in this room have eaten deer or turtle? Okay, so we're just texturing this where you can't see it, because it has to be textured in order for this to end up looking the way it should on the end. Wow. Just using the bottom of the ice pick here to press up the branches that are yellow right now, but they will not remain yellow. They will be covered and painted with marsh green acrylic paint. Wow. I don't know if y'all can hear the bells in the background, but the back of this, it's Boss Kitty up there chasing down the few, or maybe one or two left fruit flies that I got in my house, which wasn't fun either. Here, she's on a hunt. Whoops. I know what elk and bison are. I've had them both. Star, get down, because we lived in Alaska, man. I told you my family was hunters. Come on, Star, you need to think. Whoops. She just fell off my table because the light went up. Thank God she fell off the other way. She didn't get hurt. But the idea is that what? She shouldn't be up here. She should know better. But she does it anyway. Okay, let's not turn my channel into a hunting channel. It's a crafting and arts channel. All right, you guys are awesome. I mean, I'm not the normal vegan, okay? So I go to people's channels and try to veganize what they're making out of meat that I used to cook years ago. And I am a good cook, so I have fooled many a meat eater. Yeah, exactly. There was a day, though, I did eat meat, and I've actually been on hunting trips before. And so, if that's the case, everybody knows what red eye gravy is, too, and where it comes from originally. Ronch and I get along fine. He and I are always on the phone together, yapping away. He's got a great sense of humor. Anybody that gets offended by him, there's something wrong because he's just as nice as he can be. Okay, now sit up there, tree. Nobody can see what I'm doing. Yeah. All right. Use some more of this matte marsh green. Fitting, isn't it? Marsh. I know that, Launch. You're fine. I get it. I get it. Okay, let's work on getting a little more green on these branches. Folks, if you do this ever and you're using all this clay and paint, whatever you do, don't use your expensive brushes that you paint with for pictures or other types. Not that this won't wash out, because it's probably the easiest one to wash out, because I used to do oil paints. I just can't take the cleaning of them and the smell from the cleaners because of my asthma and everything. But this doesn't bother me, and it doesn't have an odor. And it cleans off easily with soap and water. I have to hold this because it hasn't set yet. We just put if you weren't in here earlier, we just put the trees back in tonight. They had to be taken out to be put under the UV lamp to try to get this 2-part resin to set. Some of it did, some of it still hasn't. Oops, sorry. Some of it did, some of it hasn't. So we're just covering up these yellow branches and making them nice marsh green. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my arm out of the way of what I'm doing. I like the matte on this, the matte color of the marsh green. I just don't think it would look good shiny, a tree shiny. I've never seen these shiny trees. Trying to keep y'all in the camera and then I forget and I'm just working away and keep going. Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Launch. I appreciate it. And that is mainly the reason I do these, because when I get off the camera and do this, I will explain, but I will be moving at a much faster pace. So I think we've gotten all the yellow covered, at least till I get some more branches on there. And that one, of course, back there is so thick looking, almost looks like a cast instead of a branch. But that's okay. Nature's not perfect, is it? Okay, so we still got some yellow sticking out of here on these. Just trying to use whatever paint was in the brush, but that's not going to work. Okay. Underneath there too. Oops. Sorry about that. Just trying to cover up that yellow. And I got green all over me. Well, I started in 97. You think, Benjamin? Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the likes and everything. I appreciate it. So I have a tendency to explain everything because I feel bad if I don't, because that's usually what I do, explain to people what kind of mediums they can use, what works and what doesn't, and my mistakes help you not make those same mistakes. Though I have not learned to control the weather yet. When that happens, then I definitely am on a winning streak. Tell her we send our love back. Star has now, she's sitting down on the floor by my door over here. Let me see if I can do this real quick because I'm on the stick and not on the arm. That's weird, isn't it? The phone stick and not the arms threw up all the mess. And there she is hiding because she fell off of the lamp over here. She didn't get hurt. She fell off the resin lamp, the UV lamp. Say hi, Star. Say hi to everybody. Say hello. Boss Kitty Star says hello. She is looking for something. I have no idea what she's looking for. Like I said, I still have a couple little teeny fruit flies, and maybe, I don't know, if they're little baby moths or something that got in the house. I don't even know how they got in here. But she has her eye on them. Okay, so still have some spots that I can see. So this, like I said, this is marsh green. It's real fitting because if it's in the woods, it's boggy and marshy. Because what? That's what mushrooms grow out of. So that makes sense. Okay, and I'm going to clean this brush off. Get a paper towel here. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because it's got too many chemicals until I know it's completely dry and stuff. No, she would tear it up. You know that? She would tear it up once. Because she'd be up there digging at it. She's bad enough that she goes to the drawer that I keep them in. There would be no mushroom house left. I'm just cleaning this off. You can use water or you can use hand sanitizer. That will clean it off too, folks. It works great. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate all the thumbs up. And I am going to do a video because these leaves, oh my goodness, I kind of showed you guys what I was going to actually do to create the leaves. So it doesn't really matter what color I use because they'll end up being green, brown, and maybe some actual yellows. So I will take the little piece of the clay. See if I can do this right. I have to hold my hand at a certain angle unless I've got it right there. And I will take the ball stylus tool and just roll it side to side and back and forth. I suggest, if you're going to do this, to put it in the center of your hand like this. It makes it easier. Just put it in the center of your hand, smoosh down on it, roll it back and forth like that. And then you can take something else to shape it. So I'm going to cut part of this off like this. There we go. Not good for me to look through the camera and do this because I can't see a darn thing I'm doing right. Anyway, I sort of give it a point. My hands are all sticky, folks. I'm not even in the camera, sorry. And you can put your lines in the leaves like this. And they don't have to be perfect because leaves aren't perfect. It's only perfect in your mind. And then you'll just put it on there like that. On the end, sorry about that. I had it right out of the camera. My hands are starting to cramp up. That's when I can tell it's time to take a break. Okay. Whoops, said reconnecting. How do we disconnect? Anyway, there's a leaf. I don't even know who that is. Launch. So let's not get into that in the arts and craft room. So there'll be tons of these on each branch. And I've got it close enough that it looks huge, even though it's not, folks. It's actually rather small. Okay. See, I don't listen to the newer music. If it's R&B, I'm listening to the old stuff. What my mother used to listen to because she raised me on it. And I wasn't even born in that era. And I don't want to go into what he did because I know who you're talking about. So let's not bring that up in here. He's got enough money, just like any other stars, to get out. All right, I'm using some alcohol sanitizer, whatever, hand sanitizer, which has alcohol in it, to try to get some of this paint. You can just rub your hands together and then use a paper towel or a tissue, and it will actually come off your hands pretty easily, or a cloth, a soft cloth. Like I sometimes use a soft cloth to do this. See? Yeah, we know lunch, so that's why I don't want it even brought up in here. This is a art and craft room. No offense, you know I love you. Anyway, we're working on the Fairy Fae Faux Mushroom House, which I'm going to create leaves on it and all that. And then we will go from there. And I'm going to do another part that's not going to be a live, but I'm going to send it up as a primo probably. And then you guys will be able to see what else I do. And when it gets done, I think it's going to actually look really good overall. I don't know where I did with my light. I don't even know how to speak English properly tonight. But I don't know what I did with my black light to show you guys that it actually will have a kind of a glow to it. There we go. So anyway, folks, I thank you all for coming here, and thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you, Launch, for supporting me. Everybody, remember when you're in the live to thumb up the live. It really does help. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist. Thank you, Mental. Thank you, Will Hat. Thank you, Launch. Thank you, Edward. J.R. Benjamin. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who went and put up so that they could also get to do this themselves, and also you'll get more on it. Thank you so much, Edward. All right, thank you, Launch. I really appreciate it. Launch, you talk to me every day, folks. Don't let me mess with you. Anyway, folks, I really thank you for being here. This is so amazing. Thank you, Mental Raccoon. I really appreciate it. So you guys kind of got to see how the leaf will look. If I can pull it back far enough, you'll see how that leaf is actually really small, but it looks like it's giant. Thank you so much, Mental. I really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who came in. Don't forget to thumb up and like the live. If you get a chance to go and watch the other, that'll be great too. I'll do a premiere, not a primo. Primo's clay. I will do a premiere for the other part that I'm going to finish up because it's going to take probably a couple hours to get the leaves on these trees. No kidding, the little green leaves for the trees. But I appreciate everybody being here and doing this with me. This is part 6 of this is part 6, but it's part 3 of that, and there'll be one more to finish up the leaves and everything. And I thank you all for your thumbs up, and I really appreciate your support here tonight. You all are so awesome. So good night, everyone. Sleep well. Have a great evening. Thank you for coming along. Again, I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs, jewelry and canvas artist, and I deal out in the other mixed media. And as you heard, Boss Kitty's already whining. She says, it's time to go. All right, Night Wool Hat, thank you for being here, everybody. I really appreciate that. Everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back. And don't forget to like and subscribe to people in the room, too, because they're awesome also. All right, thank you, folks, so much. I really appreciate all the likes, all the thumbs up, all the participation, and all the different discussions. So good night, happy crafting. Remember, you can do this, too. It's not that hard, and you can paint and draw too. Just keep practicing. You'll get it. All right. Good night, everybody. Peace and love, and happy crafting.